If you've ever heard a voice you trust coming from a direction it should not be, kind of got to ask yourself, is it telepathy or is it a mimic? I feel like most people confuse the two, but in the esoteric world, one is an invitation and the other is a predatory trap. Telepathy bypasses your senses, right, to reach your soul, whereas mimics will weaponize your senses to lure you into the dark. Fuck that. Hey there, my name's Amy. Thank you so much for joining me in this ponderance. Today we're going to have a bit of an esoteric chat, right? I want to figure out how these energies operate, right? How to read their frequencies, and the one dead giveaway. The lure. Right? That tells you exactly what you're dealing with before it's too late. So let's dive in. I totally have notes saved up. Usually I go off the cuff and then I forget things. So we're just gonna roll with it, okay? And just try to keep my ADHD on track, right? Telepathy is connection. It is the direct sharing of consciousness. It is mind-to-mind contact between two souls or entities, usually driven by a desire to communicate, share information, or bond, right? Whereas with mimics or doppelgangers, right? I feel like for a while it was mainly doppelgangers, but now everybody's talking about mimics and you're just confusing the people who play D&D, really. So they are deception. Pure and simple, pure deception. They do not want to connect. They want to consume, replace, or trap. They copy existing forms or voices to trick your senses. I feel like the main element is the lure, right? In folklore and modern esoteric encounters, mimics use a specific acoustic trap. They copy the voice of a loved one crying for help, or calling your name from another room, or whispering from the woods. Why? The goal is physical or spiritual displacement, luring you away from safety. Whereas with telepathy, it bypasses the physical world entirely. A telepathic entity does not need to lure you into a dark room or the freaking woods, fam. They meet you inside your own mind, projecting thoughts, images, or words directly into your consciousness. Also, I began listening to that podcast, the telepathy tapes. Highly recommended, especially if you're on the spectrum or anyone close to you, or you've ever just wanted to learn more, especially when it comes to being to non-speaking, non-verbal, right? It's really interesting. Even if you're not and you don't, like, it's still really, really interesting, especially once, you know, they start talking about like the materialist view and science and all of that, and just step outside of your comfort zone, bro. Okay, back to it. So telepathy projects, and they project their own authentic thoughts or consciousness into your mental space. Even if they hide their identity, you are receiving an actual mind's output, whereas mimics reflect. They have no authentic voice of their own. They act like a spiritual mirror. They can scan your memories or immediate surroundings, steal a frequency you trust, like a mother or partner's voice, and reflect it back to you as bait. Or like a doppelganger, there have been times when people have thought they saw their spouse in the kitchen and they were yapping at them, but their spouse didn't really respond, and they were like, what the heck? And then they go to the kitchen and, oh, their spouse is sitting there watching TV like, the fuck? That's just not necessary, okay? That's not necessary. You need to salt and burn. I have a cedar tree outside. It's just constantly dropping things for me. Thanks. There's the telepathic no. Telepathy rarely sounds like a physical sound wave hitting your eardrum, right? It feels like a sudden, uninvited thought popping into your head often accompanied by a distinct emotional like flavor or energy signature that is not your own. Sometimes it can feel for people like it's a bit of an intrusive thought. And that must be wild. That's weird. Like, is it you or me? What is happening? Whereas the mimics are a bit of an echo, right? They almost always sound acoustic and external. People who report encounters with mimics or doppelgangers note that the voice sounds like it is physically coming from a hallway, a closet, or like outside a window, yet the audio often lacks resonance, sounding strangely flat or recorded. I feel like we could have probably kept it at the lure, right? Like if they're like, hey, come here. Why? While a mimic copies others to lure you, a doppelganger copies you or your spouse or your mom. Seeing your own doppelganger is traditionally viewed as a severe spiritual crisis or an omen of a word that I can't say on YouTube without getting flagged, but it starts with a D and ends with H, and you know exactly what I mean. It represents a fracturing of your soul or a sinister entity attempting to phase you out and steal your identity. Whereas a telepathic copy of you would just be an entity mimicking your internal monologue, right? There are a lot of people these days, I see a lot of videos, maybe this is my algorithm, about destiny swapping. Kind of feels like it's up there. So true telepathy feels like a sudden opening of a door inside your own skull. Did you hear that? I just heard like knocking, but not like close by. It's like far off or light. Where are my cats? Where are my cats? What are my cats doing? They have ditched. Okay, all right. Moving on. I fear no one. True telepathy feels like a sudden opening of a door inside your own skull. It is intimate. You aren't hearing a physical sound. You are catching a wavelength. Even if the entity is hostile, the mechanism is pure mind-to-mind contact. Mimics and doppelgangers, they don't want conversation. They want your attention, your fear, your physical presence in a specific spot. They operate entirely on the principle of the lure. Mimics don't invent new sounds. They look into your psychic field, find a voice you inherently trust, like your mom, your partner, or your child, and use it as bait. People who experience mimic always say the same thing. The voice sounds external, like it's coming from the basement or the woods, or it sounds flat. It lacks the natural resonance of a real human throat. It's a spiritual copy pasta kind of job. Yeah. Esoterically, they want to separate you from the collective herd or your safe zone. The moment you walk toward that voice in the dark, you are consenting to enter their playground. Good luck. I mean, what is it that they say? If you no, you didn't. No, you did not. No, you did not. You need to just not. Telepath doesn't need you to walk into the kitchen to hear them. They are already in the room of your mind. Telepathy feels like a thought that isn't yours dropping into your brain like a stone in a still pond. You just suddenly know something, or you feel an emotional frequency that doesn't match your current mood. Like, where the heck did that come from? I feel like some of us who are trying to, who are, you know, when you think of like clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, like for me, for example, I'll hear somebody calling my name, like my mom, but this is something I've experienced my entire life. It used to happen even when I was in school or at work or whatever. I'll hear somebody say, "Hey, Amy. Hey, Aim." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatty?" And there's nothing, and I feel like a jackass because now everybody is looking at me like, "Hi, how you doing? Fuck off." These days, I usually hear my mom. It's usually my mom calling for me, and I figure that's because I take care of her. I need to know when she's calling me, right? That's my responsibility. It's my turn. And it can be a trip. I'm among those. I know I'm not the only one. I know for a fact that I'm not the only one where sometimes you just kind of, what are the symptoms of schizophrenia? At the very least, know thyself. Am I right? That's no harm, no foul. Just know thyself. It helps. It's so helpful. If a mimic steals a voice to lure you, a doppelganger steals your entire geometric blueprint. That's nice. In old occult traditions, seeing your own doppelganger means your personal timeline or energetic field is fracturing. It's a parasite trying to wear your skin because human consciousness is a highly valuable, creative battery in the universe. They can't create, so they copy. Okay, so how can you test this if you're thinking you may be dealing with this crap, right? When it comes to mimics or doppelgangers, this entity is almost always bound by spatial distance. You will hear your name called from the basement, the kitchen, or just outside the window. It needs you to physically move from point A to point B. It relies on your physical curiosity or panic to break your safe zone. Whereas distance is an illusion to a telepath, the communication happens inside the theater of your mind. And if you close your ears or put on noise-canceling headphones, a mimic strap fails. But a telepathic signal will still be perfectly clear inside your head. Waka, waka, waka. And because mimics are copying physical sound waves without possessing a human soul or vocal cords, their projection is often imperfect. You know, a bit uncanny valley, right? Witnesses in esoteric circles describe the voice as sounding flat, mono, or like a low quality audio recording. There is often a creepy lack of echo or natural breathing, right? Telepathy doesn't use sound waves, so it doesn't glitch. It arrives as a packet of data, for lack of better words, a sudden, instantaneous flash of a concept, an emotion, and a voice all at once. It feels smooth, seamless, and deeply intimate. A lot of people talking about telepathy that they've experienced, you know, it's almost like it may not so much be words as it is like images and imprints and stuff, or an emotion and such, right? I mean, if we're talking about just person to person, just having some skills, not so much an entity like these notes are talking about. Mimics exploit survival instincts and panic. They rarely call out to say hello. They call out in distress. It's so rude. Help me in here. Or a casual but urgent, hey, come look at this. Nah, I'm good. I'm so good. They use urgency to bypass your critical thinking, so you run toward the trap before realizing the person they're mimicking is actually at work or asleep next to you. Telepathy is about presence. Even if a telepathic entity is hostile or warning you of danger, the underlying feeling is one of a mental weight or a psychic pressure wave. It feels like someone is standing in the room of your mind rather than someone shouting from a distance, right? It's usually like, boom, right there. Okay, psychic vibe check. A mimic cannot handle direct grounded human authority. So if you sense a mimic external to you, calling out into the dark and demanding it reveal itself or ordering it to leave usually breaks the illusion. They feed on confusion. Clarity starves them. I'm just saying, if you live in the in like Appalachiaville, maybe just disregard everything I just said and just know you didn't go back inside. I'm not here to tell you what to do. That's just a whole different thing. I've never been there. I'm kind of frustrated because a part of me would love to move there, but another part of me is like, I want to go and dance naked under the moonlight. Who the fuck is telling me I can't? I mean, maybe. Who knows? I'm just saying, anything's possible, okay? And I paid for this property. I want to be able to go out and sit under the moonlight, have a campfire, whatever the heck. I want to be able to have family over and not have to worry about this thing in the dang woods trying to hurt us. This is not necessary, okay? All right, back to the notes. If you mentally speak back to a telepathic entity, they can respond in real-time dialogue. They adapt to your thoughts, because they are actively reading and interacting with your consciousness, not just playing a loop of a stolen voice. Have you ever had to do with this crap? I hope not. I hope for you. I hope for all of us, nah. But maybe you're like me and you've been like, what the heck? What is this, right? And it can be scary. It can be a bit difficult, but it's just, the thing that's coming to mind right now is skills coming online, you know, but like think of like athletes, you know, dancers and learning a new language and stuff. It's practice, practice, practice. And one of the best advice that I can give anyone is meditation. It's free and there's so many ways to go about it. So if you're one of those people who heard me say that and you were automatically like, I can't do that shit, you probably do, and you don't even realize it. Whatever the heck it is that grounds you, that enables you that peace of mind even in a moment. I feel like a lot of times when we do certain things that we later learn may or may not be dissociation. And I mean like listening to music, right? Going for a walk, right? It depends on how present you really are. Whatever helps you be in that moment and just breathe, right? I like to pop up this little infographic that I found on Pinterest because I love it so much. And it's a lovely list. Crocheting, you know, painting, so many things are basically meditative, right? And I feel like it's just like cardio. Sometimes you say cardio and people are like, they instantly tune out. And it's like, but you're only hurting yourself because there's so many options. So many things fall under this umbrella. It's just a matter of figuring out what works for you. And honestly, because it helps you have, you know, it helps that pillar, that central pillar of integrity within you, right? It helps you be grounded within yourself and the earth and nature and all of that stuff. And that's just in and of itself can be like a shield, in my opinion. You do not have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with anything I say. It's cool. I don't care. It's fine. We don't have to agree to respect one another, right? Either way, thank you so much for listening to me babble. This is something that I like. Clearly, I like watching scary video compilations, and I get frustrated sometimes because sometimes it's like hoax, and sometimes it's like, I need to, I was gonna take a little, just gonna, just let it burn. Hey. Thank you so much for hanging. I really appreciate your company. If you've been subscribed to me, you may have noticed a bit of a channel name change. It used to be Amy's Positive Vibes and Tarot. I'm going to be doing a bit more positive vibes. I'm going to go back to doing tarot. I'm definitely doing tarot again. But I want to do a bit more positive vibes. So there are some esoteric topics I've been sharing on another channel of mine, a new channel of mine called Present by Choice, that I've decided I should just be doing it over here. Right? I've had all these subscribers that I've just been neglecting, and I'm sorry. I burned myself out a wee bit when it comes to a few things there, and I just needed, you know, to continue my healing journey, quite frankly. So if you've been wondering what the heck, that's what the heck. I kind of feel like a lot of the tarot readers here on YouTube, you've probably heard me say this before, a bit like esoteric life coaches. So that's more what Present by Choice is about, where I talk about different things, but it's more like law of attraction, life coach, like positive vibes type stuff, whereas this is the esoteric channel. So if you dig, cool, thanks. I hope you stick around. I hope you continue to stick around, because I've been very pleasantly surprised in the past, year or so since I last updated on this channel, that you're still here. So thank you to those who have remained, who have stayed subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. And otherwise, I wish you the best. Have a wonderful day. And may you never deal with any of this crap. Like if it's telepathy and it's like a family member, if it's consensual, cool, fine. That's what I wish for you. None of this evil entity crap, all right? Whatever it may be, please be safe. Please take care of yourself, because you have every right to. How do I know that? What do I like to say? That's right. You were born. That's how I know it. And yeah, I'll see you next time, fam.